Harold, wake up, man. Ready to go see Aaron.
Oh, man. That was just a dream? Oh, we gotta go see Aaron, man. Let's go. What's up, Aaron?
What's going on, brother?
Man, good to see you, man.
How you doing? Nice to meet you, man.
Yeah, man, so we come check
Come
you
on
out,
in,
man.
Come on in, guys. Come on in.
Come on. All right, people, thanks for joining us today. Another episode. I'm with my man Aaron J from Texas Elite Frenchies. You can find him on his 8th backup page on Instagram at
Texas Elite Frenchies _8.
Tamik, a guy living in LA, 31 years, California actually. There's only a couple of Frenchies that I follow, Frenchie breeders I follow. You're one of them. The other one I follow is a friend of mine out in LA, but his stuff is nowhere on the level as yours. And I appreciate breeders who not only breed for quality, but breed for a specific type and want to be different from everybody else. How long you been doing Frenchies and why Frenchies? Because Dobermans, I got you covered now.
I used to try to do cane corsos.
Before the gigabyte gangsters get with Connie Corsos.
Connie
right?
Corso.
Yeah.
This was, 12 years ago, Connie Corso Italian Mastiff. I knew I wanted to breed. I just chose the wrong breed. It was a big dog. They were aggressive. It just had too many issues. Separation anxiety, and it wasn't good for me, like being in apartments. I transitioned to French Bulldogs because they're smaller, easier. Everybody likes them, every nationality, families, single people. So bigger market for French Bulldogs, I'd say, just as far as like clients go.
I'm a little bit ignorant to the breed of the Frenchies, right?
Okay.
I have a friend, Leo. He has hairless Frenchies, Merles, tricolors. When you start getting into the long-haired Frenchies, the curly-haired Frenchies, are those mixed with other breeds? And if they are they recognized through AKC or do you need a DNA testing?
So, me personally, I don't do this, but down the road, some of these breeders, it obviously has to be other breeds introduced to bring the long hair gene in. And it takes generations and generations. If you test these French Bulldogs, they're usually 100% French Bulldog. It might be 98-point-something%. It might show Pekingese. It might show other types of breeds but yeah, any real breeder knows that when there's all these new colors coming out, it has to be brought in from a different breed. So, all the colors over the years, Merle, blues, lilacs, but when you started messing with the coat length, it just made the dogs a lot more designer. We were shipping dogs to Croatia, Japan, like all over the world because we were ahead of the curve on the fluffies.
It's been historically known that some people have been mixing Great Danes with Dobermans, right?
Yeah.
To get the height.
Yeah, it's generational stuff. So you could go back and say the first blue and tan French Bulldogs, that chocolate gene or blue gene came from English Bulldogs somewhere down the line. Now did I do it? Like, no, I just, when I started purchasing dogs with color, and that's how they come. And so, there's not really anyone out there that publicizes, but yeah, to get these different genetics brought into the French Bulldog gene, somebody's doing it down the line.
And then would you say that some of them are throwing papers on the dogs that are mixed, but then introducing those dogs to 100% Frenchies?
Man, that I can't speak on because I don't personally know.
Right.
Like, I've traveled the world. I've, dealt with a lot of people internationally. The people I deal with are all solid, and there's no confusion on mixed hung papers or stuff like that. But, it does take generations to get these dogs. When you introduce new genetics, it takes years to get it, right, because back in the day before there was Isabellas or Fluffies, we had short hairs. And lilac and tans were it. So we had Trigger and Luther, and they were champions. And then we started introducing fluffy gene. They weren't the same quality as what we had short hair, but the huge demand was for all the new DNA. They want the new color. They want the fluffy. So that's what we specialize in is new genetics and French Bulldogs, fluffies.
Who are you guys using now for DNA testing? I know I'm using Embark.
Animal Genetics, UC Davis. Embark's a good one, but mainly Animal Genetics for color profile.
So many people are becoming novice at the Frenchie game. They're new into it, and they have this vision that oh, it's a lot of money in there. But you know, I did my research that they don't breed them naturally. You really can't. And they don't give birth naturally. They do C-sections. And those become thousands of dollars up front. And then you may only get 3, maybe 4 puppies. Sometimes 5. Are you really making money after everything's said and done?
So a lot of people come into this with like unrealistic expectations, and they think that if they buy the best dog out there, everyone's just gonna line up at their door and wait to hand them money. It's not like that. You have to have the marketing. You have to have the presence. You have to get your brand or your
clientele.
Yeah, you know, people aren't just gonna line up at your door waiting to hand you money for a stud fee or puppies. You have to really put in the work. A lot of people come into this with unrealistic expectations, like, oh, I'm just gonna buy this dog and I'm gonna sell every puppy for X amount, and everybody's gonna come to me for a dog, but nobody knows they exist yet. So it takes years of networking, getting to know people. I mean, if somebody wants to, especially for me on Instagram, you know, people have to know I'm credible because they've never met me and they're sending me X amount of money through an Instagram account. So you really have to have a brand that people recognize for them to spend that big money.
What makes this particular breed still very popular in regards to people are trying to get the most exotic of the exotic of the exotic? I mean, because when you start getting real exotic dogs, then that comes with defects, genetic defects, health issues, like hairless Frenchies.
See, I don't deal with hairless. That's not my, there's a lot of stuff going on. People are going every which way with French Bulldogs. I specialize in fluffies and basically like Isabella, the colors, but the hairless and stuff like that.
How about tricolor?
Yeah, that's been around for 10 years. So we've been doing tan-pointed dogs forever.
Are there any famous people who actually, that you can speak of, that bought dogs from you?
Yeah. Money Man, ESTG, Ezekiel Elliott.
I saw the Ezekiel Elliott.
Yeah, we had Ezekiel Elliott. My partner lined up that deal. So my business partner is India's Frenchies, Anthony. And we do everything 50-50 co-own. And I always tell people, what you can achieve with another hustler that's like-minded, will far exceed anything you can do by yourself. Everything that I do is partnered with my partner, Anthony at India's Frenchies, and we blew this up in 2018, started strong, and he's a good, trustworthy dude, so we just ran it up from there.
I'm 54 this year. I know I don't look it, right? But I think being a businessman myself and an entrepreneur, I think if you're gonna do business with somebody, they gotta be on the same page as you, because I wake up thinking with an idea. I go to sleep with on my mind, right? And sometimes money get funny. And I wanna be able to be in partnership with somebody who I know that if I'm going to Hawaii for a few days, that he's still gonna put it down for me when I'm not available. What is the most expensive dog you have sold before?
$175.
And why was it expensive?
So during COVID is whenever, it was like the blessing for breeders. If you were at the top of the game during COVID, they shut down international borders, so you couldn't import cheap dogs from overseas. Everybody was stuck at home. COVID affected every market negatively except for dog breeders. Everybody's stuck at home. They wanted a dog, and it was a crazy time because not only was it COVID, but the DNA for French Bulldogs, like fluffies, it was just coming out. So like we were sending dogs to Croatia, Hawaii, Mexico, Canada, like Japan, all over Europe. We're sending tanks of semen to Australia. So the demand was worldwide, and everybody in the USA was just like, needed a French Bulldog. They're stuck at home for a couple years. A lot of people are hesitant to jump in the game. And, one of my favorite sayings I always say is like, if you want to go for a run, go for a run. Don't look for someone to run with you, because just start running and like-minded people will join up. And that's what I did. I just said, it, I've been in trouble my whole life. I didn't really have like a job resume or a college degree, or really anything. So I was like, French Bulldogs was it for me after the Cane Corsos didn't work out, I was like, I need a smaller dog because I didn't know what I was doing.
The dog's been good to you and you've been good to the dogs. Do you see yourself getting into other breeds somewhere?
No, the popularity of these dogs is still growing.
This is already owned by somebody?
No, not yet.
Look at that. I love the dome head, man.
You feel her coat, she's what's called a velvet. This girl's a big rope velvet husky and carries pink.
Pink?
So she's
It's a color.
albinism, so basically albino.
But her eyes are not, they're not an albino's eyes, and I think they're usually like real blue or light colored.
Yeah.
Wow.
She's an Isabella, her color, which is an Isabella.
So how many was in her litter?
I think it was five or six.
5? All the rest of them are gone?
No, they're not even old enough to go home yet, so.
Okay, they here?
No, most of them are my partners. I had this dog brought over today for the video. Wow. She's one of our, this girl is rare.
You keeping her?
I don't know, we're probably gonna sell her, but she's like rare. So I was like, I'll have her on the video because you ain't never seen nothing like that.
What would something like this cost me?
20,000.
And would I get full or limited AKC?
Full rights, yeah, full AKC.
Beautiful. Would you consider her a breeding foundation, like just what you want to breed to?
Yeah. So her DNA is just so rare.
You want to pick a puppy for your breeding program. I know Dobies, right? I don't know Frenchies.
So the things I look for.
So what you look for in something this young, because she's 6 weeks. So why would you pick her for your program?
You look at just the overall structure, the back length. There's, a million things. The ear set, the eyes, the bite. You can see she has a nice clean bite.
Okay, it's not scissor.
She don't have a tail. She's not tall. On the velvets.
You had her tail cut, right?
No, this is how it comes.
The Frenchies are born with no tail?
Yes, sir.
Did you guys know that?
Yeah, Frenchies don't have tails.
Damn.
Yeah, you don't cut the tails, they just come like that. See, like this girl, Luna, she's a little bit of a nub, but yeah, flat face. You don't want them to have a muzzle. Like Dobermans and stuff, they have a pronounced muzzle. The flatter, the more compact the face is, the better. Good ear set. You don't want like wonky eyes. You want good, short back, short legs, no tail.
So what do you feed them at this age right now?
Roacaine.
Yeah.
It's a puppy appetite stimulant though. This is a specific canned food for puppies. And any breeders out there with picky moms.
I always tell people that I don't own any females. The only females in my house is my wife and the 2 cats. Because I'm not home enough to take care of litter. Because Doberman puppies, when they're born, they're so fragile. The first 2 weeks is critical.
Yes.
Mama can lay on them, eat them, chew them, step on them, whatever the case may be, right?
You don't want to know about French Bulldogs. Well, go ahead though.
I know it got even be worse. Are all of them being taken to the vet to be C-section, and then you have somebody whelping them for you as far as watching them for the first 2 or 3 weeks?
So I have a lady that does all my whelping for me, and she's a retired lady. And we take the pregnant mom to her at like day 58, 59, and she whelps the puppies, and we just pay her a salary basically. I don't do whelping personally because I'm always doing dates and breedings and all this. But I house, 8 dogs here. I only have, 3 females here. Most are boys.
Are any of your boys been in any confirmation shows or any shows at all?
AKC only recognizes standard colors. So like brindle, pied, fawn. That's standard colors. That's not what I do. So all the exotic colors, I can't even show an AKC show. So we did ABKC shows, and like my boy Luther, he was a grand champion, ABKC. It's not like a huge bragging thing, just, he went to 2 shows and became a champion.
Are you guys using your own in-house stud, or are you guys getting studs from across the US? And if so, what makes that stud special where you guys are importing semen?
A lot of studs we produce, some stuff we have purchased. It's just, I've had so many studs over the years.
She likes me. Look at this.
I've imported dogs from Manchester, United Kingdom. We've imported dogs from all over the US actually, but it just depends on, a lot of the stuff we produce. A lot of our stuff is productions.
Are you guys doing AI or TCI or surgical insemination?
I don't ever do surgicals because I don't like putting my girls under anesthetics twice because they have to do it for the C-section anyways. So we do AIs or TCIs.
So how successful, what's your percentage rate of them conceiving?
As long as you do proper progesterone testing, like at a real clinic, we're like 99%. Sometimes the thing that messes it up is a lot of these new breeders have these in-home Wanfo and Fine Care machines. They buy it on eBay for $1,000. they're not accurate at all, and they start a little side hustle. It's cool, but it's like, you know, a lot of people miss. My job as a stud owner is to provide quality semen and answer the phone the day you need it. So when I ship out, we have like a monitor, a microscope, a little LCD monitor. We throw a sample on the slide, and I'll say the date, like, hey, today's February 15th. We got semen going to so-and-so in Chicago, whatever. But it not show it on the monitor. So if they miss, you know, it's usually something they did, but that it doesn't happen too often.
Are you doing mostly chilled semen or frozen?
No, frozen's for like out of the country. So when we ship to like Australia, that's like a big frozen tank because it's required.
That's expensive, people. It's a whole process. And that container has to be shipped back. So you're spending at least what, $700, $800 just on the shipping? More than that now?
Way more than that.
Yeah.
Thousands.
And then here's the deal, people. When you do frozen semen versus chilled, the frozen has to thaw. Of that process, you're gonna lose some more sperm.
Yeah, you know, if you ever want to do frozen semen out of the country, the best company is called Sires on Ice. Like Australia and New Zealand are the strictest ecosystem, like environments, because their ecosystem's so fragile. It's really, really strict to ship semen there, so not a lot of people do it. It cost me like $4,000. You don't just ship one shipment, you do like multiple. So we sent like 20 breedings off one boy, 20 breedings off another boy. It took like 6 or 7 months to save up, because you can only go to the vet. Like the vet that I was using only does frozen collections on every other Wednesday. So twice a month I could go up there, and it had to be that day. And then we'd collect, freeze, and they'd say, hey, you got X amount of semen to send. So I stored it. And they store it in straws.
So they storing it at their facility? Okay.
The clinic I went to was Josie Ranch back in the day in Carrollton, and they have a what's it called, cryogen tank. That's they store everything in.
Yeah, I know my vet stores semen, and they charge an annual storage fee, like $300, something like that.
Yeah, you know, just to store it here, that's not expensive because it takes up such a small amount of space. But when you're sending it international, it's a whole different game.
Some of my boys needed fluffers. Do your boys need any fluffers there to get stimulated?
It's always better if you have a female there,
Yeah.
use it. But yeah, these are what the frozen tanks look like. That's what the frozen tanks look like. They're big.
And they're using dry ice too.
Yeah, you have to have frozen dry ice.
Do you have a waiting list where you don't even have to advertise, if at all, minimal? Or do you have a waiting list for your puppies?
I don't have necessarily a waiting list. Sometimes people will place a deposit. If they see a breeding, they're like, oh, if I announce I just did a breeding, they're like, hey, if I want to have first pick female off that litter, what would it cost? And I'll take a deposit. But we don't do like waiting lists anymore, really. Reach out about a specific breeding, I'll take a deposit on that, but that's not too often.
My background growing up as a kid, I was not a privileged child. I did not nothing was ever given to me without repercussions. Did you grow up from humble beginnings? Did you grow up like middle class, upper middle class?
See, mine was the complete opposite. You know, I would say we were middle, lower class. You know, we had food on the table every night. A lot of people in worse off positions than I was, but we were definitely not rich. And my parents worked so much that they were just gone all the time. So yeah, that's why I just got to go do whatever. You know, nobody was ever really home. My dad was growing up was selling cars, used cars, and so he was doing like, I don't even know how long the days were, but he would come home late, you know. And so my mom, she always worked random jobs too, but you know, she was like a school nurse for a couple years and assistant school nurse, and she did odd little sales jobs, but yeah, we definitely didn't come from money.
I think you said something that you was able to buy your mother a house or
yeah,
do something like that for her. This brought me to tears because I didn't mean to cut you off. Me and my mother's relationship was pretty bad because most of my young childhood life, the drugs came before me and my twin brother. Boyfriends came before me and my twin brother. And as she got older and she got off the drugs, of course it took a toll on her life, but our relationship kind of got better because she slowed down, but then she abruptly passed away right when we were starting to have that real grown folk son-mother relationship. So my question, go ahead and continue about that. You was able to buy your mother a house.
Christmas 2022, I got a hold of their mortgage company and just paid off their mortgage for Christmas. I just gave them, I already knew how much it was because I called in, but I just gave them like a blank check and it said like pay off the house. So that was like one of the best feelings ever.
You know, this show is about dogs, but dogs has an interesting way of making everything come full life and be very similar to the Homo sapien species. For me, dogs do one of many things that humans cannot do. They stay consistent. When you walk to that door, your dogs act a fool because they know you're coming. When they hear that garage door open, you know they are raring the up, right?
Sometimes with these Frenchies.
Right. But the point is that you can be gone 2 days, 2 hours, 2 weeks, and they still act generally the same
I know
way.
what you mean. I know what you're saying. Yeah.
Right. With humans, depending on what type of day they had at work, their personality can change towards you. And that's why I say dogs do things that humans can't possibly stay that consistent with their emotions and their feelings, because it depends on how the world treated them that day or that week or that year. I want to appreciate you for inviting us over to talk about one of many type of animals that I love, because I'm a true believer that we are the keepers of the beasts on this planet. We're responsible for animals, air, sea, and land. And I love the fact that you are breeding quality animals and you're not doing it for a trend.
Yeah, you know, when I first started breeding, it wasn't really about the money. It was just like finding a place in society. I was so lost, you know. I didn't know which direction to go. So when I first started breeding, if I was selling a dog for $5,000, that was like a home run for me. So like when I first started, it wasn't really, I mean, yeah, a little bit financially. I need to eat every day, so you know, I need my finances, but it wasn't about getting rich per se. You know, see that dollar bill, the $274, that's a $100,000 salary. So that was my goal. So all
You
this,
moved the goalpost again, haven't you?
yeah, but I'm saying all this came with it whenever you're working hard and you don't really, you know, years go by of just working, and you look up and you're like sitting in the middle of what you've been dreaming about.
So I want to appreciate you again for allowing us to come into your home, see your establishment. Now I'm gonna be jealous when I go back to my small ass crib in LA. But everything's big in Texas, right?
Depends where you're at.
Right. Until then, next episode coming up. Bye.